Good morning, and welcome to the CyBUr Smart Morning News Update. With the always evolving world of cyber threats and defense, you need a source you can trust. FBI retired Special Agent Darren Mott guides you through today's intricate cyber landscape and brings you the latest headlines and insights and what it means to you. Let's dive into today's cyber news.
Good morning, friends. It is Tuesday, October 17th, 2023. I am Darren Mott. This is the CyBUr Smart Morning News Update. All the headlines that you can possibly stand as we continue on with Cyber Security Awareness Week. I hope you all are more cyber aware and all your friends and family and neighbors are cyber aware as well. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to download, listen, and pass the information along that I provide. I want to give a shout out to Chris Lambert, who let me know this morning that in LinkedIn, when I post my podcast, I have an automatic link to it that goes on to LinkedIn. For some reason, LinkedIn does something funky with the articles I post, and it kind of screws them up. So I got to kind of pay attention to that. But it is what it is. If it's under 15 minutes, actually repost the podcast as an audio file that you can listen right on LinkedIn. So, or on Facebook or on Instagram, and I kind of post it everywhere. So that's probably more inside baseball than you really care. You're probably saying, just get to the news, man. I got time. I don't have time. We're here for a good time, not a long time. So let's get into it. From the Register, this is an important one. Jessica Lyons Hardcastle reporting Cisco zero-day bug allows router hijacking. And hey, guess what? It's being actively exploited. Cisco users' weeks have started badly with a warning that a critical zero-day bug in the network giant's iOS XE software that allows criminals to hijack devices has been exploited in the wild. The vulnerability, CVE 2023-20198, received a perfect 10 CVSS severity rating from the network giant, and Cisco sadly has yet to release a patch. So not much you can do about it, but it does say the vulnerability allows a remote unauthenticated attacker to create an account on an effective system with privileged 15 access. The attacker can then use that account to gain control of the affected system. So there's really not much you can do here other than understand that there is this particular issue. It says, according to Donnie, based on Shodan researches, over 40,000 devices have web UI exposed to the internet, and a majority of those are listening on port 80. So the key here is to turn off. It says, Cisco says the flaw affects physical and virtual devices running the iOS XE with the HTTP or HTTPS server feature turned on. There is not published a full list of devices at risk, so it's hard to say if you have it. I guess and here's the sad thing. Here's the bad paragraph you don't want to hear. Because there's no patch or workaround, Cisco strongly recommends that customers disable the feature on all internet-facing systems. This echoes guidance from CISA, from DHS, and how to mitigate risk from internet-exposed management interfaces. So, to disable the HTTP server feature, that's what you got to disable. Use the no IP HTTP server or no IP HTTP secure-server command in the global configuration mode. So find someone who can manage your Cisco router and turn off this particular HTTP server option until they fix it. So it's going to make it hard for you to remotely access them. But if there's your options, either allow the remote access or get yourself hacked. Not really a good choice one way or the other. Bleepingcomputer.com, Bill Tolis reporting Discord, still a hotbed of malware activity. No kidding. Now APTs join the fun. So if you're a big Discord user, one thing you may not care about is that there's a lot of malicious activity by hackers who use it to exploit, send phishing, get people to click on links and do bad stuff. Well, Discord continues to be a breeding ground for malicious activity by hackers. And now advanced persistent threat groups, and that means nation-state actors, are using it to distribute malware, exfiltrate data, and are being targeted by threat actors to steal authentication tokens. A new report by Trellix explains that the platform is now adopted by APT hackers who abuse Discord to target critical infrastructure. So not a surprise. These APTs are going to use whatever they can to find ways to distribute their information, to find ways into accounts and things like that. So threat actors abuse Discord in three ways: leveraging its content delivery network to distribute malware, modifying the Discord client to steal passwords, and abusing Discord webhooks to steal data from the victim system. So the question you have to ask yourself, how badly do I need to use Discord? I mean, it's not bad like TikTok, but you got to be careful what you're doing, what you're clicking on, who has access to the stuff. So there's more information on this particular issue going forward. And it says 15. It shows the 15. 17 nation state APTs that are using it if you want to know what the groups are. It's a pretty good article. Go take a look at it. There's a lot more stuff there. All right. If you're in Kansas, it's a bad day for you. Bleeping computer, Sergio Gatlin reporting Kansas courts IT systems are offline after a security incident, quote unquote. Just say ransomware for God's sake. I mean, why do we go through this song and dance calling it a security incident? No one is going, I mean, this is the court system. People are not going to go to court because they got ran by ransomware. I mean, my God. Anyway, information systems of state courts across Kansas are still offline after they've disrupted in what the judicial branch described last Thursday as an security incident. Multiple systems crucial to daily court operations across the state have been impacted, including the Kansas court's e-filing system used by attorneys to submit case documents and electronic payment systems and the case management systems employed by district and appellate courts for case processing. So the reason I kind of highlight this particular article is because it's not going to just be Kansas. So if you are an IT professional and you work for a court system anywhere in the world, really, just be aware that bad guys are figuring out ways to get into your system. You're being targeted for ransomware because hackers know that you're going to want courts are very digitized, and so therefore they're going to target you. And there you go. So. And this article notes that last Monday, the Alpha V Black Cat ransomware gang claimed an attack that affected First Judicial Circuit courts in Northwest Florida 2 weeks ago. And I'm pretty sure we talked about that one as well. So I think I probably even said this is not the last time a court system will be targeted. Here we are again now with Kansas, and I would be willing to bet that next week we'll be talking about some other states' court system going offline because of a quote-unquote security incident, which we all now know is code for ransomware. All right, Hacker News. Pro-Russian hackers exploited a recent WinRAR vulnerability in a new campaign. So WinRAR is a popular zip archiving tool that you can use to archive or zip. I guess it's not really zip. Zip is a different tool, but WinRAR allows you to archive files so that, like, if you're trying to send 100 files, you can kind of put them all into one archive and send it as one file. But a pro-Russian hacking group has exploited a recently discovered security vulnerability in the WinRAR archiving utility as part of a phishing campaign designed to harvest credentials from compromised systems. The attack involves the use of malicious archive files that exploit the recently discovered vulnerability, affecting the compression software versions prior to 6.23. And it's traced as CVE 2023-38831. So fortunately, there is a fix to this, but you have to obviously update your WinRAR to do this. So this particular vulnerability is a high security flaw and allows attackers to execute arbitrary code upon attempting to view a benign file within a zip archive. So you get this zip archive, and there's a file in there that it's thinking you think you need to look at. So you unarchive the file, and the malware deploys, and bad stuff happens. So the Russian group associated with this, APT29, which was one of the groups, I think that one's CyBUr, was one of the groups that targeted the U.S. campaign in 2016. So they target diplomatic entities. So just be aware that if you're using WinRAR, update that sucker because it's got a vulnerability. This is from scmedia.com. Steve Zurer reporting the FBI and CISA warn critical infrastructure organizations about the Avos Locker ransomware. So both agencies released a joint statement to share known indicators of compromise, or IOCs, tactics, techniques, and procedures, TTPs, and detection methods associated with the Avos Locker ransomware variant identified through FBI investigations as recently as May. Now, okay, so wait, when is this article from? This is from recently. So basically, I don't know why we're reporting this now, but last week's advisory update. That's a new one that updated a March 17th, 2022 release. The update included the IOCs and TTPs not included in the previous. So basically, the investigation found additional IOCs and TTPs. So they're updating the previous report with all this new information. I wonder if it's on this article. It is not. That's just a quick article. So go look for this particular bit of information. You can kind of see how to necessarily protect yourself. It says the FBI and CISA are recommending adopting application controls, limiting the use of remote desktop services, restricting PowerShell use and the common things, requiring phishing-resistant multi-factor authentication, which means don't use SMS texting, segmenting networks, keeping systems up to date, and maintaining offline backups. Nothing really new here in this particular report. My guess is they have this particular paragraph in all their reports and they just kind of copy it over. But obviously, here's a point: as ransomware operators like Avos Locker evolve their tactics, protecting your organization requires a layered approach. Yeah, no kidding. So the obvious is listed here, but again, just be aware of it, that there's some information out there about that ransomware group. And finally, this is from Malware Bytes Labs. If you are using the cloud host Shadow, know that customer data was stolen from gaming cloud host Shadow. So this is your data breach of the day. Cloud infrastructure provider Shadow warned of a data theft of over 500,000 customers. The customers were informed by the breach notification, which was posted online. Shadow is known in the gaming world and, among other things, allows gamers to play resource-heavy games on lower-end devices. The stolen data includes full customer names, email addresses, dates of birth, billing addresses, credit card expiration dates. According to Shadow, no passwords or sensitive banking data has been compromised. We'll see if that holds true, but that's what they're saying. Shadow says the incident happened at the end of September and was a result of social engineering attack on a Shadow employee. There it is, folks. This is not some massive hack job. They got someone to click the link and bad stuff happened because someone always clicks the link. As always, the articles listed in this show are listed in the show notes if you want to go back and read more of them. So keep that in mind. There it is. Coming up later this week, I think tomorrow, in addition to the morning news update, I will also be releasing a Cyber Guy podcast with more interviews from the Cyber Summit here in Huntsville last month. So you can be on the lookout for that. If you're in DC, I will be on Fox 5 News this morning talking about ways to protect yourself. I will link to that particular appearance once they send me the link, so you can see that if you're so inclined. As always, I appreciate those of you who take the time to download, listen, pass the information to others. As always, if there's things I can do better, I should be doing better. And I will say, I know one thing I should do better is I should read these articles well before I start talking about them. But the problem is the day gets away from me. And so I get to the end of the day, a lot of things go on, and I kind of have to try to get these podcasts out. So I'm looking for the articles, and then I'm learning along with you as we do it. So not the best way, probably not the most professional way, but hey, I'm not getting paid for this. Just kind of doing it because knowledge is protection. If we can understand the threats targeting us, we can assess our risk and proceed wisely. Thanks so much for listening. I look forward to talking to you on any of the social platforms I'm on. I'm not going to repeat them. I say them enough times. You can find me if you know where to look.
CyBUR Smart Morning News is written and produced by Cyber Guy Productions. Feel free to email thoughts, comments, or suggestions to Darren@thecyberguy.com. or follow Darren on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/DarrettMott. Thanks for listening.